guess I'll just join.
Alright, hi everybody, this is Charlie Adams, Guerrilla Coffee TV, and today I have with me Vince Nance. I don't really know you that well, I know about you, and I know that, like, so we have this thing that we kind of created around the Guerrilla Coffee brand, which was like this, it's our hashtag, and our hashtag is Go Guerrilla, right? And that hashtag was really about, like, to kind of celebrate people who just kind of, I don't know, they go above and beyond, they excel in whatever it is. Maybe it's just their drive, whether it's in art, business, sports, any of those things, music. It's kind of like this thing about, celebrating that characteristic in people that kind of differentiates them from other people. Like, I mean, I know that I have that to some degree because of my my nature and kind of pursuing new projects and all that kind of stuff. And I know that you have that because I've obviously heard that about you from other people, and I know that you're into a bunch of different stuff. So, I mean, would you tell me, like, what are some of the, I know that you're, like, obviously you're a fucking stud, you know what I mean? You're into fitness. Like, what's all that about?
So I've been training Brazilian Jiu Jitsu for about 12 years. Was a cage fighter actually right over there, about 200 yards. It was where I started cage fighting, mixed martial arts fighting, training with Rob Smith. And then, moved to Korea to teach English after basically a total financial collapse in 2008. And was able to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu there as well. And
so wait, you were like struggling financially and just said, fuck this, I'm not going to be a cage fighter, I'm going to go teach English?
It was actually like I couldn't, my back like gave out on me, my ankle, like, there were a couple of body parts that were just jacked. And then I also had a severe head trauma in the military, so I didn't want to be getting punched on the regular,
Yeah.
I was kind of trying to not damage my brain more. So I ended up transitioning out. I never lost the fight. I just, it was one of those moments where you kind of have to go like, I want to remember my kids' names when I'm 40.
Yeah.
And really be realistic about your limitations. But Jiu-Jitsu for me is just amazing, and I've been really fortunate to be able to train that for the last 12 years, and really, it's an incredible martial art.
Yeah. And I don't even honestly know that much about it. I mean, it's like what do you, like, throw each other around or something?
Jiu-Jitsu is a ground fighting focus. So it would take like the elements of judo that would and wrestling
that's what I was thinking,
that would like
judo,
transition you to the ground.
Right.
But Jiu-Jitsu kind of starts where judo ends. So in the Olympics, like if you throw somebody a perfect throw and they land flat on their back, like you're done.
Right.
That's the end of the match.
Right.
In Jiu-Jitsu, like that's where the match would start.
I see.
They'd be like, okay, now they get to do Jiu-Jitsu. So it's submissions,
like arm bars. And
arm bars. Anything you see in MMA on the ground that's a submission is probably Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
But it's actually, they call it the gentle art because it's actually, like I always say, like if your cousin's drunk at a wedding, you want to know Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
Because you don't want to like punch that guy. You can't like unbreak somebody's nose.
Right.
Yeah. But you can use Jiu-Jitsu to like control that person. But like if somebody's trying to murder you in the back of a car, you also want to know Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
Because it's close quarters. And the same move that you would use on your drunk cousin, you would use on a rapist or an assailant, and just hold it for 10 seconds longer.
Right.
It's just really
That's
chill.
cool.
And it's super, like, it's not violent. Like, it's the biggest mistake people have about it is that it's in any way, like, about violence.
Yeah.
It's actually, it tunes up your empathy because you're going through these things and you feel your arm about to break, and you have to have the humility to be like,
I'm done.
You got me.
Right.
Good. I'm not going to, like, hold out and, like snap my arm. Because that's actually a dick move to that person.
Right.
Because
they don't
they actually don't, they're going to go like slow with pressure, like it's up to you to tell them when to stop. They don't want to break your arm. Don't make them hear that.
Right.
Jerk,
So tell me about like some of the stuff some of the projects that you've done. Okay, you have a gym. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
Contact Sports Club is just this incredible assortment of amazing people.
Where is this located at?
In Mansfield.
Okay.
We do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. We do kids self-defense training. I'll do like a kids self-defense event or like a women's self-defense event like once a month or once every 2 months. And the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu itself, we have four consistent instructors, and we've got purple belt pastors, we've got purple belt retired state troopers, we've got purple belts who are black belts in Japanese Jiu Jitsu, and the one guy's an electrician. They're just like local industrial, like industrious, like hardworking, like salt of the earth kind of people.
Yeah.
Rob Smith, my business partner, like owns a company that does well field services and pressure washing. And he's super entrepreneurial, and he's been training jiu-jitsu for 20 years. I've been training for 12, and just the caliber of people that you meet in that space, and really like the only qualification you need to have is to be kind. Like if we find somebody and we're like, this person wants to hurt people, they're gone. Like there's no way that person would be allowed to be in our space. But you can be like flawed, you can be overweight, you can be an addict, you can be just whatever your journey is. You can be a 98-pound woman, or you can be a 350-pound man. It doesn't matter. We're all there to better ourselves and just learn and practice and grow. And Joe Rogan talks a lot about jiu-jitsu, and he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert as well. And it's just so enriching.
So you also have Anarchy Waffles.
Yeah. Where
did that come from, and what's it about?
Anarchy Waffles had a really cool origin story. Has a really cool origin story. The actual impetus for like starting it was just like I like feeding people. Like I've been making people breakfast in college. Like I just love making big breakfast. That's something I grew up with. Like
part of the caretaker thing.
Yeah. And so my friend Jess had a night and day in Mansfield.
Yeah.
We actually went up to her and we're like, I said to her like, hey, can I just start doing, like, if I just start making waffles and like giving them away to people, like, would you be cool with that? She was like, yeah, I guess. I guess. And that was all I really wanted. I just wanted to like go kind of spend my Saturday morning like giving people free food that was gluten-free and delicious. And like the benefit for me was that I got to kind of recipe test, and I got to make a bunch of awesome connections, so we would just make waffles and then just give them to people, and we'd be like, do you want a waffle? We'd be like, how much is it? It's free. They'd be like, free? I was like, dude, like it's free. Like if you want to give us money, you can. Lay it on the table, like put it in this like cup, and we'll take it. It'll help pay for ingredients, but you don't owe us anything. We just want to like feed you, like give you food. And so that was people kept saying like, that's anarchy. Like there's no try. They were like, that's anarchy. And I was like, first of all, that's a cool logo. It's like a visual person. I'm like, Anarchy Waffles, got it. Like that's the logo. But it was we kind of just embraced that, and you get to like do fun stuff. Like I got to drive out to Standing Rock to deliver supplies to the protesters with my friend Jason White, and the Episcopal Church in Mansfield really stepped up and helped us, like Rowena. There were so many people that Mayor Mike.
What was this? What are you talking about? I don't know.
We like got stuff together to take out to the protesters at Standing Rock.
I don't know what that is.
For the pipeline.
Oh, okay.
Like a couple weeks ago. And we got to feed protesters, and that was like, for me, that was like the ultimate like integration of our narrative. Around like, first of all, anarchy, secondly, like waffles and feeding cool people, doing cool stuff, and it was just a way to kind of like do something nice for them, but also. And we didn't get any pictures of it or anything. It was just because there's no cameras allowed. It was just us doing. It was just me and like a couple of my friends doing cool stuff. But that was a neat experience.
That is cool. You brought some of your stuff along here. So I just wanted to say real quick before you. That sort of branding concept, Anarchy Waffles. I mean, like it kind of like sort of incites controversy, you know what I mean? Which is like arousing, It's the same thing. I mean, we did the same thing at Revolution Coffee Company. I mean, my intention from the very beginning was to incite controversy in some way. You know what I mean? Was to make people in the community be like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to just kind of like, I'm not trying to like cause discomfort.
Sure.
I'm not trying to scare anybody. You know what I mean? I just want to like
maybe a little.
I just want to dig a little bit. You know what I mean? I just want to dig a little bit, not to be a prick, just to get you to like think differently.
Sure.
You know, that was it. I mean, is that kind of similar to?
Yeah, it was. You know, for me, I wanted something that, you know, like the bachelor's in psychology and all my different stuff that I've done, and it was just, for me, like I definitely wanted to have something that would stand out, and you know, from a branding perspective, like I was saying to you before, you know, it's you mentioned Oscar Wilde. It's very, you know, it's better to be seen by 100% of people, or noticed by 100% of people, and hated by 90% of people, than it is to be ignored by 100% of people.
Right.
Because like I'd rather have a narrative that people get like dig. Especially in the age of like being able to ship anywhere in the country, you know, and the internet, you know, being able to be seen by people and have 10% of people go, awesome.
Yeah.
Like 10% of people going, awesome. How 1% of people going, awesome.
Right.
And like 1%, if 1% of people are true fans, you're going to be wildly successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And that was my goal, is to have a niche kind of market.
All right, so what do we have here? Dairy-free, gluten-free, original Anarchy Waffles.
Yep.
So what makes it special? I mean, can you tell me about? I know that you did like a lot of recipe testing and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure they're delicious. I mean, the gluten-free thing is obviously, you know, more unique currently, but
gluten-free, dairy-free is basically, you can use dairy if you want, but they're kind of designed to not be.
Yeah.
So, you know, like we have some dairy farmers that are like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's like you put milk in it if you want, right? You don't have to.
Yeah.
But there's just there's so many food allergies now. There's even people that can't eat this because it has chickpeas in it. You know, like it's chickpea flour. It's like there's so many food allergies. So like my goal in making these waffles was not to make the best gluten-free waffle.
Right.
It was to make the best waffle.
Yeah.
That happened to be gluten-free.
Yeah.
We have 10 different flavors. We started out with the original, and then my family was like recipe testing for me. My brothers were making fun of me. They were like, dude, we hated when you first started making these. They were garbage. And they're like, now they're the best waffles we've ever had.
No shit.
We really, like, I really had to dial, it was before it was really a company, but I really had to dial the recipe in, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's just, they're delicious. They're the best waffles I've ever had. But the other thing too is that if they aren't the best waffles I've ever had, they'll never see the light of day. You will never taste our failures. You'll never taste key lime.
Right.
Because we couldn't get it right.
Right.
And so it was like, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
We can't get it right. You don't have to taste chai latte because we couldn't get it right.
Right.
You know, we just couldn't get it right.
Wow.
So, you know,
I had no idea that they were like that dynamic of flavors you're talking. I'm thinking like vanilla, chocolate, you know, stuff like that.
So we have carrot. I brought carrot cake because carrot cake's one of the coolest ones. Like lemon poppy seed, you like actually take lemons and like juice the lemon and like zest the lemons into the mix.
Yeah.
It's designed that way. Like I wouldn't recommend doing it without that. You know? Carrot cake is designed to be made with carrot juice and like 1 3/4 cups of like finely shredded carrots. So it's a bit of an adventure, you know, but like but they're super carroty and like it's not like some thick carrot powder flavor. It's
right,
like
I got you. Right. So what I mean, so now, you know, even just not even Anarchy Waffles based, but just what's your plan? I mean, do you have any things going on that you're developing, or what do you do?
Yeah, I'm currently trying to buy 8 acres from my parents to grow industrial hemp. And I have a friend that wants to do like experimental growing there.
Yeah.
Really cool, one of the first places in the area that does that. And raising like chickens and stuff like that. Just like cool, like little kind of subsistence farming stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool area right on Route 6. So that's like the most recent thing I was just talking about last night with my dad, and we agreed on a price, and so
that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm now working with the realtor that he had hired, and that's happening. So that was like so one of my friends once told me like that my the time between like idea and action for me is the smallest gap he's ever seen in a human.
Yeah. And
so that I think is one of those things. I feel like you're one of those people too.
Yeah.
You're like idea, action. Like you'll have an idea and the next day you're writing up a business plan or you're like researching it online.
Whereas people will like kick around an idea for years and never take action. And I don't think people understand like that like 0 to 1. The most like the gap from 0 to 1 is infinitely large. It is literally infinite. And the gap from 1 to 2 is merely doubling.
Right.
You know, so like, which seems lame compared to like infinite gap.
Right.
And that for me is I think the power of, you know, being alive and being conscious is the ability to take our like ideas from 0 to something.
And I think that like
it's not that hard.
It's not, and I think that part of that whole thing is like taking action on whatever the idea is, whether it's a new business, whether it's an invention, whether it's I don't know, a humanitarian project. I mean,
just start.
You can't diffuse it until you've gone far enough to see that it doesn't work. You know what I mean? And so that's like, I think that's what it's always been for me. It's just like, I'm gonna fucking push this thing through until it doesn't work. You know what I mean? And if it does, look, I've already covered so much ground. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
It's just so much of what like people imagine that it'll be a certain way. Like it's not going to be anything like what you thought. Like like the failures aren't going to be what you thought they were. The hard parts aren't going to be what you imagined they will be. You know, like one thing you think will be like take like a year will take like 8 minutes, and then the thing you thought was going to be super easy it turns out it takes like 6 months. So it's not like you can't budget like properly from the beginning. You have to just get in there. It's like I said to my one friend, my last cage fight, I really didn't want to do it. I was just like not feeling it. I was like, man, I just want to go watch cartoons with my best friend and like chill and like I'm not feeling it at all. It's like, but at the same, I did this moment of like checking with myself, and I was like, but I did tell the promoter that I do this. I'm here, travel all here with my team. There is no way out for me without sacrificing massive amounts of integrity and rapport and credibility, and also like seriously disrespecting myself and my team. So I was like, so I'm gonna get in the cage. Like, so now that I'm gonna get in the cage, like I could just lose, right? Like that would be easier. Like, but then I was like, but the thing is, like, you have to get hit either way. Like, you have to get hit either way. So like, and I literally had this conversation. I was like, in a world where I have to get hit, I could get hit and lose, or I could get hit and win. Like, I guess I'll just win. And I did. Because I was like, dude, there is no way that you're not fighting. And there is no way that you're not going to get hit. Like you're going to get hit and you're going to fight. So in a world where you're going to fight and you're going to get hit, you might as well just win. Like just fully commit to winning and just go through. And so I did, and I won. I was like, damn. All right, like cool. But I don't know. It's people are their own worst enemies so much of the time with their self-talk, and they're like, it's just like, just start. It'll be fine. Figure it out. You know, you have to address those problems in real time. You know,
that's
boots on the ground.
Well, Vince, dude, thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
It's been a pleasure getting to know you.
Yeah, definitely. Same. I would love to talk to you more and figure out more about, you know, I'm sure I'll watch I'll watch the channel and get more pieces of Charles Adams.
Well, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, absolutely.